Hi, I'm Georgia.
And I'm Talia.
We're Girl Scouts raising awareness on pet adoptions during the pandemic.
We are here with Antonio from Leader of the Pack to talk about some important training tips and information.
Could you further introduce yourself and tell us your role in the pet community?
Absolutely. My name is Antonio Diaz. I'm the owner of Leader of the Pack Canine Training here in Las Vegas. And my role in the community is really to educate people on how to live with their dogs and conquer behavioral issues with their dogs and train their dogs to be the pets that they really want them to be.
Why do you believe that positive reinforcement in training is so important?
I mean, to put it simply, positive reinforcement really lets the dog know let me rephrase that. Positive reinforcement gives us the ability to communicate with our dogs and tell them what it is that we want from them. It's basically constantly saying to your dog, good job, I like that, keep doing that, and I want more of that. The thing with positive reinforcement is that behaviors that are rewarded are more likely to continue. So when we're raising our dogs, if we're getting a new dog, if we pinpoint every little thing that that dog does that we like, we're able to shape their behavior a lot more quickly and also motivate them to want to continue to do the things that we like.
Okay. So, what role does the owner of the pet play in training?
Well, this is probably a little unknown fact, but if you're a pet owner, you're a dog trainer, right? And that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand. So I do this professionally, and so obviously I have a lot more knowledge in that area. But if you are a dog owner, you're a dog trainer. So I think it's important for people to understand that their role is really to guide their dogs, lead their dogs, and communicate well with their dogs and have an understanding of who their dog is so that they can communicate with their dogs effectively.
What are the most common mistakes you see first-time pet owners make in training?
Giving their dogs way too much freedom. Yeah, and that doesn't mean that we have to be mean or they should be mean to their dogs and overly restrict them, but it's important to set up very clear rules and boundaries and provide structure for their dogs and teach their dogs to look to them for direction and also for the things that are good in their life. I always suggest to people that are adopting a new dog to learn to hand feed their dog and control areas in the house, not allow their dogs to just jump up on the furniture. And it's not that being on furniture is bad, but when it's done in a way that requires permission, it creates a relationship with the person and the dog to where the dog looks to the owner as if to say, hey, can I come up on the couch? Maybe having the dog sit first or even give a paw as a permission to come up onto the couch. And so when we start tackling these little areas of like hand feeding, making the dog work for us, and we're developing a relationship, we're developing trust, and also controlling the dog in a way that's beneficial for both us and the dog because the dog learns how to live in the house.
Oh, so, many pets are surrendered to shelters because they're considered untrainable. So, what can pet owners do to prevent this?
Well, I would say take the initiative, be proactive. Before you even get a dog, have a plan, have a game plan. Know what the rules of the house are going to be. Know where the dog is going to go to the bathroom. Know where the dog is going to sleep. Have some idea of what your training is going to look like. And then I would say hire a professional. Get in touch with someone to provide help and guidance and education so that you can better communicate and train your dog. I personally believe that all dogs are trainable. And so when people tell me that they don't think their dog is trainable, I always correct them and say it's more about learning how to communicate with the dog and what motivates the dog and using those to teach the dog and guide them into the dog that we want them to be.
So what other things would you suggest first-time pet owners do before letting a new pet into their home?
That's a cool. Let's see, what other things would I suggest? Having the right tools, like for example, having a leash on their dog when their dog's in the house. I always recommend that when someone adopts a new dog to have them in their home on a leash so that way they can guide them. For example, you're sitting on the couch, you have a new dog, they've been there for 3 days, and all of a sudden you're not paying attention and they wander off and go pee somewhere or poop in the house. This is a mistake that could have easily been prevented. If the dog was on a leash, the dog would have gotten up and tried to move, and then you would have felt that and asked, hey, where are you going? Maybe the dog has to go to the bathroom. And so then you'd have obviously brought them outside and checked. And that's a simple solution. I tell people all the time, having a leash on your dog, I would say would be the biggest piece of advice I can give to anyone that has a dog that's unruly or a brand new dog in the home, because we want to be able to supervise the dog. So when you bring a new dog into your home, you know, you need to get to know them just as well as they need to get to know you. And so being able to closely supervise them and having them close by is going to give you the ability to do that. So having a leash on them would definitely be another piece of advice that I think could be beneficial for people.
Okay, and have you observed any behavioral issues or differences unique to pets in the pandemic?
Yeah, I would say separation anxiety is definitely a little bit more prevalent now. Although I don't think it's always been there a lot because people tend to have very excitable departures, like when they leave the house, you know, talking to the dog a lot or coming home and getting the dog excited. But I would say definitely now more than ever, there's a lot of issues of separation anxiety and also over dependence with dogs. So a lot of dogs are way too dependent on their owners because they're so used to getting an interaction, so used to constantly being able to follow them around. And so it creates a dog who isn't entirely confident in themselves and their ability to just relax and be alone. And another issue I would say is under socialization. So because of the pandemic, a lot of people haven't brought their dogs outside to engage with other people or dogs. And because of that, dogs don't know how to read people, read dogs, or really interact with other people and dogs. So that can create an issue too. Now there's a lot of reactive dogs when they're on walks. It looks aggressive, but it's really coming from a place of fear and insecurity because the dog doesn't know how to respond to other dogs or people.
Do you expect any behavioral issues to arise in pets as we start to open back up during the pandemic and people start to like leave their homes?
Absolutely, more reactivity. And I deal with that a lot right now. People that are bringing their dogs out more and more now, and now their dogs are very reactive. And like I said, it seems to the owners that it's aggression when really it's just like misplaced frustration or insecurity that manifests into what we would call aggression, barking and lunging, but really it's just an expression of how they feel.
All right, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, not that I can think of.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.